like Studnicky from RelatedISG, welcoming you to the next Insider Series. Today we're with Chrissy Paulick of the commercial division of RelatedISG. And Chrissy, it's first of all, it's a real treat to have you on the show, particularly somebody in the commercial division, because usually it's everybody in the residential. I tell everybody at the beginning of the show, but just as a reminder, one of the biggest reasons for this Insider Series is for all of the RelatedISG agents to get to know you. So this is a little bit of a chance for you to get to know your agents, your colleagues in RelatedISG. Tell them a little bit about what you do, how you got into real estate, what it is about commercial that you like so much, and what you're seeing in 2021 about commercial that I promise you they want to hear about. In addition to which, our competitors watch this program too. People that you do business with all the time, and probably people that you will be doing business with, not just as a result of the show, but because you're out there networking all the time. Right. They too would like to hear from you about what's going on in commercial real estate in South Florida in 2021. So the show has a lot of different cross purposes. And as for me, as the president of RelatedISG, I like people to get to see the quality of the people that are joining RelatedISG, because it's my goal to really brand this company into a top-notch real estate company in South Florida, if not the top-notch real estate company. I like that. Thanks. So with that said, let's get started. First of all, where are you from originally? Because nobody's really from Miami. And what brought you to Florida?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
I was born and raised in LA, in Los Angeles, and I moved out here when I was 17 years old.
Okay. What brought you
My parents.
Your parents, okay.
My parents, yeah. They had just divorced, and you know, it was a good thing, and we moved out by Boca area. And not gonna lie, I ended up coming down to Miami probably like 4 years after I graduated. No, I'm sorry.
After you?
4 years after.
After college or after?
4 years after I moved.
Okay.
And
because you went to FAU
yes.
in Boca Raton.
Yes.
Very good school.
Very good.
It's really risen up substantially. Their
Very
football program has come out of nowhere now. Now they're like talked about very much.
Right.
And that's big in the NCAA because a lot of schools are measured sometimes by their sports programs, even though it should be academia. But like look at the University of Miami, for example. They were always known principally by their football team. Now they're regarded as one of the top academic institutions in the country. FAU is
when I went there was no football stadium.
Well, there is now, as you well know.
Yeah.
So after 4 years at FAU, you came to Miami.
I got a little introduced to Miami, and as you know, I'm a city girl.
Yeah. Well, needless to say, the vibe in Miami is very different than Boca.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I moved down here, and I have to tell you, like after living here for about 16 years, I absolutely love the city.
Love Miami.
I probably won't.
So you left Boca and you went back. You visit friends, you visit family, but you live here.
Yes.
By the way, we have something in common. I moved here 30 years ago, moved to Aventura, and now I live in Sunny Isles Beach. This was really the same thing. I have family, sisters that live in Boca. My mom and dad used to live up there. They're not here anymore, but nevertheless, they all lived in Boca. I visit, whether it's Easter or birthdays or Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever it may be. But
it's a nice little getaway.
But I prefer Miami because I just love the buzz of the city.
Oh yeah.
And like you, I love the city.
Yes.
And every year it's a different year in Miami, isn't it?
Yes.
You're right?
It's booming.
Yes.
Yeah, before there was no Wynwood, you know.
No design district.
No design district.
Yeah.
No city center.
There was no Brickell City Center.
So
All the activity was in South Beach.
Yes.
There really wasn't anything going on in Brickell, or you might say there was no there. Downtown Miami, there was nothing as well. American Airlines Arena and Adrian Arts Center showed up, but it wasn't enough to give it there as well. So you saw the city booming, and is that what got you into real estate?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
I have a degree in marketing, and at the time, I just had a lot of people kind of telling me, like, Chrissy, you should really get into real estate. You're very personable. You know, you love just meeting new people, and I feel like it would be like a good niche for you. So when I joined, the Miami Realtor Association, it was about 10 years ago, and I started with with residential. So when I was doing residential, I kind of just did it as a little hobby. So I wasn't really that into it at the time.
And you were probably doing just a little bit of business too.
Yeah.
Because as we talked about before the show began, unless you're into it, your results are going to be kind of marginal.
Right. I kind of Didn't really care for it that much. Ended up taking on another position, another marketing position, and it just so happened that I ended up coming back into real estate. And that was thanks to Thomas Silichin, which is the president of,
of the commercial division
yes.
of RelatedISG. And he got you into commercial.
Yes, he did.
And is this kind of part-time now for you?
No.
Like residential is?
No, I'm actually doing it full time and I'm like loving it.
Like how full-time is it though? Like what do you do on weekends?
This.
Well, we kind of talked about this offline. The Pareto principle, 20% of the people do 80% of the work, or create 80% of the results, is just unbelievably true. And when this becomes almost an obsession, certainly a passion, real estate, whether it's commercial or residential, congratulations, welcome to the 20% club. Now that's what it takes. When you are doing it all the time and you're thinking about it all the time, you are now part of the 20% club.
Yep.
You'll make all the stuff happen.
It's exciting.
And you're working for a young man that I admire tremendously. Thomas is driven, he's wicked smart, he's incredibly charismatic, and all of that in a guy under 40, which makes me unbelievably jealous. But I'm so happy that we're teammates. And he convinced you to get into commercial.
Yeah, he took me under his wing.
He's a good guy to have as a mentor, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
And Thomas, and you reminded me as well, there's several components to commercial real estate. There's multifamily, there's industrial,
Right.
there's hotel, retail, and office.
Right.
Thomas told me when I interviewed him on this show that industrial during 2020, during the COVID year, the worst part of COVID, kept humming along, no issues. But almost every other aspect of commercial, whether it was retail, whether it was hotel, whether it was office or multifamily, suffered. Now it's February of 2021. What do you see emerging out of commercial real estate as a percolating part of all those asset classes that fall under commercial?
Well, industrial actually it was actually impossible to find.
Really?
All these huge corporations moving down here. In terms of
Is it still impossible to find? Probably even tighter.
they get taken up really quick. But I mean, the price per square foot is enormously ridiculous for some of them, but people are taking them.
Yeah. There's a scarcity of space.
Off market, industrial. If it's at a good price, it's not going to last very long.
Okay.
In terms of the multifamily.
You sound like such an expert. This is great. And this is what everybody wants to hear. No, this is great.
In terms of the multifamily, you have so many people moving down here from all over
From
the
everywhere.
states, right?
Including your home state, California.
Yes. So those buildings that were vacant in 2020 are now completely full, and it's great for investors and anybody that wants to come in and take over these huge properties. Half of these owners now don't even want to sell. Some of them they're just trying to hold on to them a little longer, but hopefully that's our job.
Along those lines, I've knocked on a couple of doors of some property owners that own multifamily apartment houses, suggesting that it might be a good time to convert them to condo. They don't want to sell.
Yeah.
Cash flow's that good.
Yeah. Everybody's hanging on.
Yeah.
So
In fact, tell everybody about your Opalaka
experience.
experience.
Thomas and I had an Opalaka multifamily that we put under contract in the beginning of COVID, obviously last year, and that ended up, the investor ended up pulling out, so I was a little discouraged. I thought we lost the deal, and he ended up coming back, so it was exciting.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
That gets into the patience thing, which we'll talk about in a second.
Right.
What about retail and office? What are you noticing there?
They're all coming back.
They are.
Yep. Especially office. Office is a big.
Is office the leading one?
Yes.
We talked about this as well. I run two companies, RelatedISG and ISG. And I did downsize some of my square footage, but I'm so glad I didn't downsize any more than I did, because some people are returning to work. I find them much more productive when they're in the office than they were working remotely. And when I speak to other CEOs or senior VPs of other companies, they have the exact same observation. Are you and Thomas noticing the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. People don't want necessarily to shrink their square footage like they thought about 6 months ago or even 12 months ago.
I think it's just South Florida as well. We're just booming here, so it's beneficial in our city.
The companies that are moving to Florida, that are taking space, where do most of those companies come from? Is it the New York area?
New York, Northern California, Silicon Valley.
Really?
They were getting a huge, Chicago, all the major cities.
Let's go back to Silicon Valley. So when I read in the South Florida Business Journal, or the real deal about the Silicon Valley techies coming here from Northern California, that's true?
Yep.
Really?
Yes.
So you think South Florida really could become the next Silicon Valley?
Well, they're saying now that I think Miami is becoming the next populated, I think we're like the top, which I don't know if it's a good thing for us, but it is and isn't in terms of traffic, but now hopefully Elon Musk is gonna come in and put that underground tunnel.
We're gonna need it.
Right.
We're gonna need it.
With that and the train stations coming in, they're putting the train station in Wynwood.
Yeah.
So with all that public transportation, it'll be great, but the population right now, I think we're the top 5 populated city in the United States.
Well, Miami. Well, it's getting there. Yeah, you could. You're certainly top 10. Florida by itself is the second fastest growing state in the country, right behind Texas. But number 3 is I think this year Texas grew by 11. Last year they grew by 1,100 people a day. Florida close to 1,000. And number 3 is Arizona at 300. So it's really the big 2. And it sprinkles all over Florida. Jacksonville is the most populated city in the state of Florida. It's kind of a well-known fact. Most people think it's Miami. It's Jacksonville. Number 2 is Miami. And then number 3 is Orlando. And then coming up right behind there is Fort Lauderdale. So people are moving to Florida, but it's interesting to hear what you're saying about Northern California and Silicon Valley, because it gives even more impetus and credibility to the rebound of the office market.
Right.
So you switched from residential and you went into commercial, and you're working with Thomas, and I'm hoping and praying that you love the experience working at RelatedISG.
I really do. Honestly, everybody's amazing, very hands-on in terms of the marketing, in terms of anybody that I literally could send an email out if I need help with anything, I get a response right away. And a lot of other brokers that I know of from friends of mine that have done real estate, they don't get that same experience. So
I'm glad to hear you say that. Sandra, who's our Chief Marketing Officer, she's extremely responsive, and she knows what Carolina Curtis and Liz Lopez and I want to see RelatedISG become, not just commercially but residentially, really more brand awareness. And that is all based on the amount of support we provide our agents. And it has to be timely, and it has to be cool. We have to give you what you need to differentiate you from the crowd out there, because you've got competition, from other companies, and we want to make you and Thomas and all the folks that work under Thomas's commercial division stand out as true experts. Before we close, residential is clearly different than commercial. I've never sold commercial, so you're going to be teaching me something now. What have you learned about yourself in selling commercial real estate?
I have really learned patience, perseverance. I learned that not every deal is gonna, work out the way that you want it. So you just gotta kind of step outside the box and don't get too emotional about anything. And the things that the deals that you feel like maybe wouldn't happen do end up happening. And
And oftentimes those are the deals that you sometimes don't even put nearly the kind of effort in that you do on deals that you put tremendous amount of effort in that don't seem to happen.
Yes.
So I had a mentor of mine years ago tell me, don't ever get too attached to your results, your successes or your losses, because they're both temporary, and it doesn't have anything to do with who you are as a professional realtor or as a professional broker. You just keep maintaining, learning as much as you can, because let's face it, the business that you're in, particularly commercial, it's changing probably every week. The listings are changing, the deals are changing, the price points are changing, particularly as people continue to descend on South Florida. And I say South Florida because I just gave you some population gain numbers, and what I left out was that Florida's growing by 1,000 people a day. Half of that population, is moving to Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade County. We get half of the daily influx. The rest of Florida gets the other half. So when you notice the highways are kind of busy, it has everything to do with the popularity of South Florida and some bad driving, but mostly the popularity of South Florida.
I think they're expanding the highway here.
They've always been. I've been here. I moved here from New Jersey 30 years ago, and they've been expanding.
There's always construction.
In hindsight, I probably should have gotten into the road construction business. Except, like you, I love real estate, and it's in me. I think about it all the time. I enjoy the people I meet. I enjoy even the transactions I get to close, because the other side of that is a stranger until the deal closes, and then they become either an acquaintance or a friend.
Right.
Every single time. And that's one of the intangible rewards of being in the game that we play. Chrissy, I want to thank you for being on the Insider Series. We don't get a chance to talk to commercial experts very often, and you clearly come off as one. I wish you and Thomas nothing but blue skies in 2021.
I appreciate it.
No, I think under Thomas you're gonna fly. You're gonna fly.
Yep.
Folks, thank you for listening to today's series. I hope you enjoyed this as much as Chrissy and I did. I'll see you next week on the next edition of the Insider Series. Bye for now.